Movement in Valorant is a lot like doing your homework. You could work on it a little bit, know how to counter strafe, swing an angle properly, and you'll get by with the C. Or you could practice your movement to the point where enemies will literally think that you're cheating. Movement in this game is very important, especially if you're trying to rank up. So today, I'm going to show you everything you need to know to master movement in just 10 minutes. So let's get started. So eventually we'll be talking about counter strafing, the proper way to entering sites and things like that, but we're going to start with a tip that I've been trying to improve at myself. And it's that in Valorant, there are a lot of jumps and situations where you don't have to make noise. Let me show you. For example, on A main ascent, let's say that you and your teammate want to double peek A main. You can get on top of this wall and get ready to swing completely quietly. What you have to do though is before your jump, you need to press shift and jump at the same time as you're at the end of the bike. This does require some specific timing and practice to get down. But a trick that I learned from a free agent professional IGL nerfed was that you could set up a specific bind so these jumps are much easier. So this is what it looks like. You still have your normal jump bind, but you just have a second key bound so that this is a lot easier. And this is useful for a lot of places. Dish on Fracture, Ascent B site, Pipes on Icebox, and so many more. And it may not sound like a big deal, but these noises could mean the difference between you dying or not. So with that being said, go hop in a custom game, set this bind up, and start practicing. You'll thank me later. And as a matter of fact, you could do a lot of things silently. For example, a really safe way to get information is by silent jump spotting. This makes you almost impossible to hit, and there's a lot of places you can do this at. I play a lot of Viper, and I jump spot like this on Breeze to get info on mid and B main at the same time. On Bind, you can jump spot like this to get info on Showers. On Haven, you can do the same thing on A site. Mid on Icebox, you can jump spot like this to keep an eye on mid. This is a lot safer than jiggle peeking or just holding the angle. So if your team has man advantage and you want to be extra safe, this is a better option. Or if your plan is just to anchor down sight, you could jump spot while at the same time have your utility out and ready to respond at a moment's notice. And another way to stay silent is when you drop from certain areas of the map. By pressing shift at the right time before dropping, you could be completely silent and catch the enemy team off guard. For example, you could drop down from Heaven and B site on Ascent, out of Hookah on Bind, from Dish on Fracture, and a ton more. Again, you might think that this isn't that big of a deal, but when you're in a clutch, you're going to wish that you practice these on your own. You can even silently drop from the ropes on every map. By counter strafing with your opposite directional key, you need to cancel out your momentum. Right after your counter strafe with your S key, you press shift and F, and you'll fall down the rope silently, like this. You come down the rope a ton faster and can save you precious seconds, these of which could mean the difference between you winning or losing that clutch. Now I don't know about you guys, but I thought these tech tips were cool and figured a lot of you hadn't heard about them. Some other things you can do silently are bunny hop up stairs or ramps by holding shift while you still have your momentum and jumping up the stairs. This will make you move around certain parts of the map much faster and completely quiet. You can also swing someone completely quietly by pressing your A or D key and stopping before you make a footstep. This is much better than holding shift into an angle. If you do, you're gonna get shot and then die. But by doing this, you'll be able to swing people really fast and quietly. Now, if any of these movement tips are new to you, then you should check out our website. We have world-class courses full of concepts you've never seen before or ones that you're just unfamiliar with and you need to improve at. We're so confident that we'll help you rank up that we have a rank improvement guarantee, meaning if you don't rank up while using our service, you'll get your money back. So quit falling behind the competition and check us out at SkillCapped. We'll be waiting. Alright, now that's enough being quiet. Let's get loud. Louder than your Reyna screaming that she needs a buy, but then never talks the rest of the game. Anyway, if you're a duelist main, movement is key if you want to separate yourself from the best of the best. And no, I don't necessarily mean your counter strafes. Some of the most meta duelists all have movement abilities: Jet, Neon, and Raze, each of which are different in their own way, but all accomplish the same goal. They either create space or follow up off of teammates' utility. They all do similar things, but can all vary in different skill levels. For example, with Jet, a lower rank Jet might just cloudburst and dash into sight, which works, don't get me wrong, but a really good Jet might updraft and dash on top of Generator or over switch. These are better in some situations because you're now forcing the enemy's crosshair to not only move horizontally, but vertically as well. By bombarding the site with utility, plus a Jet who is literally flying across site, holding it is near impossible. And examples like these exist on every map, not just Ascent. This same thing applies to Raze too. Everyone thinks that Raze always needs to double satchel in every time she entries. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but this isn't the case. For example, if your team is coming in through Catwalk, all you really need is one satchel. When people double satchel, sometimes they're shooting themselves in the foot and getting themselves killed. I mean, think about it. The only reason Neon and Jet don't need to worry about this is because they have abilities that cover them as they're entering site. But with Raze, if you double satchel, the enemy team is going to be playing Duck Hunt. Double satcheling could be good though in some situations. Like if your team is dumping utility on site, or if they focus all their abilities on a single person, you might need to double satchel to go capitalize off of said utility. Knowing when, how, and where you're double satcheling is the difference between that next rank. Like there will be times you need to double satchel. Is your KO flashing you into tiles? Do you have your ultimate and want to get up ace out of Icebox? Did your breach flash you down C long on Haven? Times where you're following up off of powerful utility like this is when you need to be able to have the movement to capitalize. This same thing applies to Neon. She can push up mid on Breeze, like this on defense, push up early on Icebox, and so many more examples. But there's movement potential and technique for every agent, not just duelists. I mean, we've all had those games where your entries are just too afraid to go in, and sometimes you just need to do it yourself. But how do you do this effectively without any dashes, satchels, or slides? Well, a general tip for you entry support players is that you never really want to hold W while going into sites. Doing this makes you an easy target for anyone actually aiming towards the choke point you're coming out of. So when people tell you that they love to W key, that means they're bad. They don't know what they're talking about. As a matter of fact, in Valorant, you should almost never be W keying. Here, you tell me, who is harder to hit? This target or this target? The answer is obviously the second one. And of course, when I say never W key into site, I don't actually mean that. There's going to be a lot of times where you have no choice but to run straight ahead and trade somebody out or something. But if you're entering into site, you want to make sure that you're as hard to hit as possible. As a matter of fact, I've seen pros jump out of smokes or around corners just to mess up the enemy's crosshairs. But this entering habit can be hard to get into, so I highly recommend that you hop on a custom game or a deathmatch and pretend you're entering into sites or retaking. Actually, this is how you should always be playing deathmatches, to improve. Now once you got this movement down, the next step you want to take is learning how to counter strafe. In Valorant, you need to be completely still before you shoot, otherwise your shot won't be accurate. Yeah, sure, there are those special cases, and you could probably just run and gun with the Stinger and Spectre and get away with it, but usually you want to be completely still when shooting. One thing you could do is just completely let go of your movement keys before shooting. Or, if you want to strive for perfection, press the opposite directional key to cancel your momentum and save you a few milliseconds. Now keep in mind that this is hard to do in real time and requires a lot of practice. Some Radiant players I know don't even think that this is worth it and just release their keys before shooting. The extra fraction of a second to them isn't worth the extra keys that they need to press that they could potentially mess up. But this is still good to know because in some specific situations, you'll want to know how to do this. Let's say for example that you're jiggle peeking an angle. You need to know the timing that you need to hit in order to land a completely accurate shot. Or let's say for example you're swinging an enemy and you know exactly where they're at. You want to swing with an angle with full confidence, counter strafe, and pre-fire them as you turn the corner. And now that I'm talking about it, another important concept that you guys need to have down is knowing how to properly jiggle peek. More often than not, when I watch your guys' VODs, you're jiggling incorrectly. A lot of you jiggle slow and aren't actually ready to react to whatever crosses your screen. Your jiggles need to be quick and ready to actually kill someone who peeks your angle. By going slow, you're making yourself more vulnerable to getting timinged. So if you die like this, you might tell yourself that you're unlucky, but in reality, you're jiggling wrong. And sometimes you don't even need a jiggle peek. It's unnecessary. For example, you're playing C-Long on Haven. You don't want to be jiggling this angle because if the enemy team turns the corner, you're going to get wallbanged and take a ton of damage or die. What you want to do is jump spot. Jump spotting is useful for so many different things. You want to get info on C-Long? Jump spot. Need to check if an operator is holding you? Jump spot. You shouldn't jiggle. Need to see if someone is defusing the spike? Jump spot. You don't want to jiggle because oppers and people defusing the spike are going to be holding for you to peek them. By you running at the angle you want to jump spot, jumping before you're exposed, then pressing the opposite strafe key midair, you'll be able to throw off anyone's aim holding your angle. Then when you have all these movement techniques mastered, you could do some crazy mix-ups if you're in a 1v1. Someone defusing, jump spot twice, jiggle twice, then commit to a full swing. Maybe you could jiggle someone twice with two tight counter strafes, making them hold really close, then hit them with a wide swing that they won't expect. Everything we talked about today, from silent jumps to counter strafing to knowing how to properly entry sight, will make the difference between a good and an outstanding player. So hopefully you guys learned a thing or two about movement. After watching this, you should have some drills that you need to boot up on Valorant and start doing. How you move your agent is very important in this game, and if you can master it, the rank heights you can hit are limitless. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel down below. It really does help us out. But before you go, keep in mind that this is all just one of many in-depth guides that we have on our website. Also, if you want a chance at having your VOD reviewed, be sure to subscribe to our website at SkillCapped.com. We also have tons of Radiant Smurf commentaries. We have Radiant players walk you through exactly how to have the most impact possible in a bunch of different situations. It's also backed by a rank improvement guarantee, and the reason to do that is because you're just that confident that a service works. And if it doesn't work, then you shouldn't pay. So what are you waiting for? You got nothing to lose. Head on over to skillcapped.com and get started on your way to the rank that you deserve. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, guys. I'm Teets, and we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.